Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to USFC 190. Our first fight will be Captain Adler against Oak. And as you can see, the fight card is pretty small today. We still have a decent enough turnout though for some good fights, so I'm not upset about that at all. Sometimes it's nice to have a short event, but with some bangers mixed in there, especially Oak against Captain Adler. And I'm sure the champion fight, regardless of who I fight, will be great as well, as well the fight with next in Platypi, Dauntless. We'll see some amazing Yendrick from there, and Polar Grid. Known as Grid Square originally, everybody knew him as that before, but he just changed his name. Same person. Captain Adler will be on the left, and Oak will be on the right. For some reason, I cannot spell Captain Adler, but we fixed that. If anybody badly needs to go first or anything like that, also feel free to let me know. It's a pretty small fight card, so I don't mind shuffling the order at all. Yeah, I'm aware. Don't worry about that, Oak. It's just that we're getting started and I did some intro music and stuff as usual. Go. If Bobo or somebody else wants to come in and commentate, you're also free to do so. But it is not required, especially not for a smaller event like this. And I think somebody asked what settings I'm using. Obviously, I'm turning dynamic muscles off. In fact, we'll double check that just because the game does weird stuff sometimes. And I usually do more physics. But that's basically the precise version. It's not... It hasn't really been changed, so... But just to double check, you can see here, dynamic muscles off and more physics. That's all I'm doing. Otherwise, we're using the standard settings beyond that. We're going to turn this all the way off. Usually the game switches it back for some reason. I'm not sure why. Probably some sloppy coding, I should say, on the part of Kupol. But these things happen. We're used to that by now. Captain Adler on the left, Oak on the right. And I will pull up the YouTube chat on my phone real quick as well, so I can watch that. Whoa, what? What? What the fuck was that? What? Unstable FPS. Yeah, that's the usual. What the f... Huh? And now it's frozen. Okay, it reset. The game was like timeout. That's an interest. What the? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna. Even the game is just telling us to do a little timeout. So I think we'll restart the game completely. Oh my god. They're both just flash stepping. I can feel their spiritual pressure. Just anime style moving all over the place. I've seen this bug before. It happens randomly. Yeah, we'll just let that subside. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cheat. Obviously, pick the same characters, guys, and we'll just completely restart that, I think. Oh no. Okay, let's redo that. What a way to start. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But you can see they're both locked in. After all that flash stepping in the arena, they They have focused their spiritual pressure, and now they will not be flying all over the place. They'll be focused more on the fencing. And already, some big exchanges here. Nobody's been killed yet, although Oak did land a slight hit. And a nice double. Brutal chest wound by Captain Adler, but he also got hit coming in. And nice. Oak just keeps the pressure on with those snap cuts, and eventually one lands to the head. Yep, you can see it up above info. I'll also pin it. I don't know if I did that yet, but I will do so right now. Just look at the closest pin message. It's a pretty small fight card, so you won't be able to miss it. In fact, if there's a pinned one from the previous fight card, I'll get rid of it right now, as well as we fight.
No.
There we go. And a nice hit to the head there by Captain Adler, who actually takes a lead. I was looking down to pin that fight card, but Captain Adler's just going bananas now with Tarnowski. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything strange now, but it was interesting. It could have been some unstable FPS or something, but unfortunately the thing with the game is it's not super well optimized, so sometimes weird stuff like that can happen. It does pop up from time to time, that message. That's pretty normal. So that in and of itself wasn't necessarily a problem, but it happens on Venator's host too, even if the FPS is relatively stable. But it could have just been in that moment. It was so unstable that even the game was like, we gotta call a timeout. It was like freezing and restarting the fight, which is saying something as far as how bad it was. But yeah, in the end, Captain Adler takes the first one. Nice hit to the head. And Captain Adler keeps going in with those swings. It's actually really tough for Oak to get a clean engagement because of that. Very nice timing, but this time Oak goes in right when there's a whiff. That swing out of measure really costing his opponent. Making it 1-1. Oak is very good at punishing little mistakes like that, and we see that in action once more. Oak is a lot more careful about engaging. Still applying plenty of pressure, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't want to get into a situation like this where he's exchanging and it's really messy. Bunch of cuts there by Oak, nice. It looks like he's coming back to life a little bit, inserting those cuts at just the right moment. That stab is deflected. But a great attempt there. And a strike to the hand. Oak might just take this one by a good margin, just as Captain Adler did the first fight. We see that a lot, actually, with high-level fights such as this. One fighter gets an advantage, another one makes an adjustment, and it just sort of goes back and forth. Often when that happens, the last fight is where you see it looking so close by flag count. But Captain Adler, with great spacing there, is able to force the stab in. Tarnowski actually has a pretty good thrusting game. It's rather underrated. Obviously, he's more of a cut character than a stabbing character, but the stabs that he does have are actually really powerful. They're just very one-dimensional. He doesn't have a very varied game with the point, so it's rather easy for the opponent to see coming, but if you insert it at the right moment, it can really surprise people. So Captain Adler has his back against the wall there, but he does end up getting a double. Still not great for him, though. He remains behind in flags. He makes no progress as a result, but at least he stays alive. It was looking like Oak was circling him like a shark, looking for that killing blow, so he's probably pretty happy with that at least. And he does get a flag for his trouble in the end there. Nicely done. And now it's not looking so clear. Although Oak was getting an edge, it appears that Captain Adler is actually the one making a comeback at this point. That stab was a little bit too far, and Oak capitalized there, hitting the hand, which was an open target. The arm as well, right after. Going for a little blade beat. Also can be used as a cut, that move. But Captain Adler eventually actually loses the trade this time due to hit location and timing. So Oak does take it. Very nice adjustment by Oak. Captain Adler will need to change something. I think he was starting to do so this round. It just didn't happen in time for him to overcome such a powerful opponent. I'm assuming Captain Adler wants Tarnowski. Just make sure you press quickly. We're getting that bug again where it jumps down to Jakub right away. There we go. Yeah, I don't want people to feel they can't pick Tarnowski because of the bug. You very much can. You just gotta be fast. Nice, hit to the head. Yeah, great fight so far, and welcome in to those in the chat. Johnny Boston Forever and Schreib, right? Or something like that. My German is not very good at all. I know some words and phrases, and that's it. Yeah, French is the second language of choice for me, not German, so I probably butchered that big time. Nice hit to the arm. Mark's P44 in the chat as well. Some people that I do not recognize, but we're always happy to see either new members of the server or just people from the interwebs who haven't heard of this game or have heard of this game but haven't heard of the PvP community and want to see what's up. Yours is bad as well, and you were born there. Wow, interesting. Some people feel the same way with English, so I can see that. Nice grab there by Captain Adler, as Oak tried to dash in for an attack, presumably, but that put him in danger of being grabbed at such a range. Very nicely done. And that's a double. And this one is looking pretty even as they both sort of made adjustments. Nice hit to the head. Captain Adler managing to inch out an advantage, but it's only a slight one. Big slash by Oak. Captain Adler looking to punish there. Awkward timing on the cut, but Oak does read it. And yeah, the fact that it was a little bit slow might have allowed Oak to get away with that. But it's tough to say. Yazik's guard is also pretty good. He might have been able to block it regardless. And a nice counter cut by Oak. He actually does get a bit of a hit there to the hand with that upcut, and he does follow it up. That was beautiful. Really subtle, too. But using the reach advantage on that particular attack to his advantage. The reach between these two fencers is actually pretty close, despite the fact that Yazik's sword is probably a little bit longer. Because of the way that they move, Tarnowski actually reaches pretty far of some of these cuts. So it's all about move choice as far as dictating who has the reach advantage, functionally speaking. Nice hit to the arm. Got like 50 hours in the game, not good enough internet for PvP. Sorry to hear about the internet issue, but yeah, unfortunately that is a pretty big barrier with Parsec and Steam Remote. You have to have a very smooth connection, a very stable connection. Especially if you're playing against people from different regions, that is very important. Just had your first PvP game with a member of the server, was really fun. Not good as well, have 16 hours in the game. Still glad to have you both in the chat. And if you put in the work, you can absolutely get good like these guys. They have a lot of experience, especially Oak. Oak's been with us for years, but we've all been there at some point. And that was a really nice hand removal there by Captain Adler when it mattered the most. And that punch earlier too, I'm actually watching it back as well. That was amazing. Making this fight a brawl. It's not just a sword fight, I call it a fight with swords for a reason, as you can also grab and punch and do other stuff in a fight to the death. And this game does have that type of stuff as well. Nice blade beat, and then he immediately hit the hand afterwards. As Oak tried to go for the stab, trying to get around the guard with the curve of the blade, but his hand was a target, and Captain Adler took that opportunity before he could land. But this time he gets clotheslined by the sword there a little bit. Hit to the head. Big slashes by Captain Adler. Parry riposte, actually. And again, Oak under a lot of pressure, actually, to block those cuts because Tarnowski tends to hit harder than Yazik does. You can tell by the fact he throws a lot of shoulder cuts, whereas Yazik is throwing... You know, he throws some elbow cuts and shoulder cuts too, but for the most part, he's doing wrist cuts. Which means he's a bit faster, but he might not cover as much distance with some of them. And ironically, the fact that Tarnowski is a bit slower might actually give him the edge as far as being awkward with the timing of his attacks, so... You guys can see they both match up pretty well against each other. With Oak getting an advantage this time, you might see it go 2-2. This is best of 5, so... If that happens, the next round will decide it. Doing that little blade beat move, but Oak is patient and then very surgical with his punishment. Another hit. Nice thrust there to the arm.
Oh yeah.
And Oak is looking to close this round, but Captain Adler will not go down without a fight, as he knows winning this round will win the whole thing. Nice hit. He can't quite follow it up, but that was a good effort. Maybe an upcut after would have finished it in that instance, but it's hard to say. They both have a bit of a lag spike, but thankfully they recover, it looks like. These things happen. With Parsec, unfortunately, a stab to the arm. Really nice. Nice hit. And a strike to the arm. One more needed for Captain Adler as we're once again down to the last flag. But we've seen Captain Adler does really well in these situations today. Nice patience on his part there. Oak with his signature combo. And a bit of a pause again due to lag possibly, but it looks like it's back to normal. Good sportsmanship by both of them. Waiting it out a little bit, and now we're back at it. Usually that's what those pauses mean, that something like that's come up. And nice! Oak does take it into the final round, but it was a close one. It almost looked like Captain Adler had it, but Oak was very precise with the sidestep. I'm assuming they're gonna stick with the same characters. Again, we get the Tarna bug, but yeah, that's what he wants. Nice. Glad we're not having too much trouble with that. I remember some people were really dissuaded from picking Tarnowski because of that, but you can pick him. Nice! Ooh, some clutch parries there from left foot forward, but eventually Oak is able to break through anyway. Captain Adler was simply too close. And left foot forward, for those who don't know, for both characters actually, exposes your guard, but it opens many more attacking opportunities that you don't have with right foot forward. So it's a bit of a give and take. Obviously, Tarno, with his passing footwork, does switch legs a lot. So you end up in left foot forward just by virtue of attacking with some attacks, but that's the thing. He flows between them really quickly. But as you can see here, if you pick the correct attacks, you don't have to switch legs. It all depends on what your intention is. And Captain Adler shows masterful usage of the moveset here. Welcome, Vanguard. That's Clamino, of course, as you can see. And Max Kyrian as well. Glad to see you in the chat as well, enjoying the games. You're saying that every time you see someone playing Hellish Quart, you want to play it as well, which is good to see. Bit of an exchange there. That retreat cut, though, Captain Adler getting really tricky this time for Oak to overcome. Whoever wins this round wins the match, so... And it looks like Captain Adler used long guard there at just the wrong moment, so his hand got tagged. Maybe looking for a stab, but that put his hand in danger. Ooh, little awkward on the timing there, and Oak thought he could punish with a sidestep, but that wrist cut does not quite hit as hard as that power cut that Captain Adler did. Especially not to the body. If it hit the head, it could have killed, but he struck the body. Whereas Captain Adler clearly hit the head with that cut, so he came out of that trade a bit better. But Oak does get a flag right back, so we're still looking at a fight that could reach literally the final round, which I'd love to see. We've seen that trend quite a few times this fight, so would love to see it once more. Ooh, Oak with some tricky timing with the snap cut himself there, but Captain Adler with great patience there. Big cut there, nearly lands, but Oak is able to parry it. Sidestep, parry there. And Oak feinting the attack there, and Captain Adler sort of bit, I think. He was trying to beat the blade or punish it, something like that. And Oak caught him in the middle. That was really nice on his part. Excellent usage of the feints, and Oak is applying a lot of pressure now after landing a hit in this potential final round. He's looking to close the fight right now, but he also knows that Captain Adler has some powerful cuts that could steal the flag if he's not careful, so he is not overextending himself, looking to finish this clinically, but he gets his hand cut right off there. Nicely done by Captain Adler. And this is the final flag. Tarnowski can do that. His cuts are powerful and they cut from interesting angles, so your hand can be a target. Captain Adler not quite able to finish after landing a cut of his own, but that will have a serious impact on Oak's health, perhaps his stamina down the road as well. Oak with some attacks, and it's a double. He does save it at the last minute. And we're still on the last flag. It's not over yet. We might see a few more doubles yet, as these two seem really evenly matched, so that's a pretty common occurrence in this situation. They don't want to overextend. They're throwing some feints, trying to see what the other opponent will do. And Oak with his signature combo, but as he tries to retreat, Captain Adler takes a bit of a risk there and goes straight for the hand with that power cut. He does take it, but it was close. He did take a hit as a result of doing that, but it was worth it in the end, as it was only a slight hit compared to his clear hit to the arm there. Alright, Polar Grid against Dauntless. Hopefully Polar Grid doesn't have issues with Parsec. He was saying he might, but I suppose we'll find out. I can use Steam as well if, for some reason, Steam is the better alternative. We can also try a different host if that's needed as well. Yeah, that was, feel free to submit that to the Hall of Fame, guys. I know we keep talking about the Hall of Fame, and we're like, but we end up, like, never posting anything there. It's sort of become a dead channel, but that's sort of what we're talking about when we mean, like, Hall of Fame fights. That's Hall of Fame material, I'd say. And I'm sure our fighters would agree, too. I mean, what more can you ask for? It was literally down to the last flag, and they had a double. That's the best part, when the fighters start doubling in that situation, so it's like we still have to keep going to decide who's gonna win. I did ping the guys, Polar Grid and Dauntless. If not, we can just do Platypi against Nex. These two, Platypi and Nex in particular, are the potential contenders to challenge the champion, so they have to fight each other first, and then the winner of that fight will be able to fight me. Polar Grid said he'll be here shortly, which is fine. We can also get you to fight Info, because Info is currently missing somebody to fight. So if for some reason Dauntless is not available right away, we can also do that. As Info is looking for somebody to fight, but it looks like Dauntless is typing, so we'll probably get Dauntless in shortly too. I pinged the wrong Dauntless. Oh, okay. Well, Dauntless Dreams is here, so that's good. Grid Square, or Polar Grid I should call him now, is here, and then there's Dauntless. Okay, Polar Grid will be on the left, and Dauntless will be on the right. And I'll get you guys keyboard as you both need it. Okay, it looks like we have two people who signed up late, but they haven't made themselves known, so I'm not aware of who those people are. Feel free to let me know. Okay. I'll get them both a fight if needed, but we will see. Nice thrust there by Polish Grid, who has gone with Zera, actually. He can play a bit of Zera, so I'm not super surprised by that. But it is an interesting matchup into Yendrik. Not a bad one, of course. It can be a very good one. It's just not a matchup we see super often. Yeah, that's Hall of Fame for sure. So if Oak, you want to just add that to the Hall of Fame, you have my blessing to do that. I don't think anybody will object to that. So.
Hey.
Yeah, we got some late joiners, which is fine. That's what we allow in the USFC for people to join late and get a fight. So Pico, you'll probably get a fight, and I don't know who Randomless is, but if Randomless is around, we could do that as well. Bit of a trade of attacks there. Not quite close enough to get to hit the axe, it looks like. Now, Yendrik has that goofy bug where his neck stretches. A little bit too close there, it looks like. If you don't hit the axe head with Yendrik, you don't do full damage. In fact, oftentimes you won't do damage at all. Just a stun at most. And again, nice active defense there, but eventually Dauntless does get an attack in there. Nice hit. Good sidestep. This is looking like another close fight. It is not clear who's going to win. It's all about distance management here, as they both lack defense against each other's attacks, but Dauntless with a beautiful sidestep again. And a retreat attack to end it. Marie now. This should be an interesting matchup. And a stab to the body there. Dauntless really trying to close the distance, but not able to intercept the stab in time. This time manages to do so. A little bit of a hit, but it didn't much matter. Dauntless wants to cause some chaos here up close and not get hit by that rapier. Looked like that was gonna hit, but I think the handguard stopped it, so it was more of a stun this time. Could have also been just slightly wrong on the distance, and that's enough to make it a stun and not a proper hit. Just like so, although it was a pretty powerful hit, it did not hit with the business end of the weapon. And there we go. Polar Grid with yet another kill. Marie can be a bit of a challenge for Yendrik. So it's up to Dauntless to figure out a way to close in. There's another one. For Dauntless, nice wide chop. Bit of a trade of blows there. Good sidestep, a nice try there to try and get offline from the attack. Bit of a punch. Not quite able to kill. And straight to the head. Nice by Dauntless. And a triangle. Oh, nice hit. Chop to the head. Polar Grid looking good this time around. Might possibly come out on top with the Marie, but Dauntless is still making it a fight. And there's a triangle. Chop to the head. It's game on, as we have equal flags again. Another double. Neither fighter coming out of that particularly unscathed, but it means neither of them won as well, so. Nice usage of long guard to try and control the space there, but eventually Polar Grid is able to land a hit. A little bit too far for that axe head to hit. So despite all the blade beats, nothing actually happened. A usage of the push there up close, not something you see often, but it paid off pretty well. Although it did not result in a kill shot, it did allow him to get his opponent off balance. Chop attempt, and there we go. Forces that chop through, but it's still a double as that thrust is really fast. Chop out of measure, and the triangle is a perfect punishment. Nice active parry with the handguard. And getting low against Yendrick like that can be a good move for Marie. And it's currently 1-1. So far, they haven't been having issues of lag, which is good, at least not major issues. Grid square is pretty far, Polar Grid, I mean, but charges in there with that cut. This time going with Isabella, which is a pretty solid pick here. Yendrick can be a good counter to Isabella, but the Yendrick has to manage his distance really well. If he fails to do that, Isabella does have tools to just rush him down exactly like that. There's the nice Y cut. And the dash and attack is a threat, but if Yendrick is able to allow it to whiff, then it's an easy punishment there. One of those interactions was kind of funny, by the way. The axe head was behind Isabella, so it kind of hooked her neck, but it did not actually hit, so some weird ragdoll stuff going on, but it was legit, and that is a double. Some chops there, not quite able to land them, and a hit to the head. Nice, again, going in for the chop. The liver strike is what that one is called. Bit of a combination there, but out of measure. That's what Dauntless kind of wants, but got a little bit too close there, and there's the hand immediately attacked. Yeah, Polar Grid has realized that one of the best ways to defeat Yendrick is to just put your foot on the gas pedal. It might be a little risky, but the fact is Yendrick fundamentally lacks in defense, so you don't want to turtle up against him. You want to almost play his game and just go in with no fear. And if your distance management is better than his, you will win. Nice hit, not quite able to finish it, but that will have an impact on stamina. And there we go, straight to the hand. Nice combination by Polar Grid. Nice hit there. We're going with sabers this time. A bit of a switch here. Polar Grid looking to win this now with Samuel. Good exchange there. Trying to pick each other off. Feel each other out a little bit. That stab from perfect range there hits the head. We haven't seen Dauntless use Saber a lot, but I assume Jan is his like second main, so probably a pretty good choice. Jan is one of the more solid characters in the game. Bit of a jack of all trades. He's good at a lot of stuff, especially from range. He loves picking you off from a distance with both cuts and thrusts. A really disgusting combination of attacks, but Samuel does play a little bit of a similar game. He can fight pretty well from range as well, and he does have a better guard. Less HP, though. And his attacks are fundamentally different, so it's cool to see them interact with each other. It's all down to who plays the character better, though, particularly in this matchup, when they both do so well at roughly the same range. But I would say Jan plays the pressure game better, whereas Samuel plays the counter game better, whether it's counter cutting or parry riposte. Bit out of measure there, but the chop lands really nicely. Nice corkscrew there. And a nice chop there, calling him out on the feint, and so Polar Grid is not able to respond in time. And if Dauntless wins this one, it's once more 2-2, which we like to see. But the A cut is actually really underrated for Samuel. It covers that line of attack and hits the hand immediately. Perfect single tempo. It's still possible for Polar Grid to take it if Dauntless is not careful. There's a retreat cut to the hand. It's looking that much more possible now that a comeback might occur. Nice retreat A, and calls him out with the X cut. Beautiful to the arm. One more needed for Polar Grid. Gotta ride this wave to victory. This momentum. And a bit of an exchange there, but the back X is very nice there in the middle of that. And does manage to hit the hand. Very nicely done by Polar Grid. Showing some great saber skill, but I have to say Dauntless nearly won it, so very nicely done in that round as well by Dauntless. Platypi's already joining, who will be fighting against next now. There we go, next is joining. All good. You didn't really hold us up, so don't worry about it next. Next, by the way, and Platypi as well, if this applies to you, if one of you, after you win, you're like, you need to fight right after because of some real life commitment, we can do the champion belt fight right after this too. Platypi left, next on the right. So just let me know if that's the case, otherwise we will just put you at the last fight as usual. Next, that'd be appreciated if I win. Alright, so if Next does manage to win, we will do the champion belt fight right after. That's probably good for Pico. He said he needed a later fight, so. Which is not really like him, but I assume his schedule has changed, so. Isabel against Tarna. So far, a bit of a back and forth between these two. Although Next did manage to land a hit earlier, it wasn't quite enough to get the kill. A punch, though, by Platypi, just closing the distance and getting a quick kill. And the sidestep there, perfect punishment of the stab there. Yeah, it'll be later anyways, just because of how we have it set up. It might be the last one, actually, if Next manages to win, but so far not looking good for him just yet. Obviously, a comeback is perfectly possible, but it is quite a disparity in flags here, as Platypi is just going to town with Tarna. Perfect initiation there. Makes it really difficult, actually, for Next to make much happen. Good hit. Nice hit again. And an upcut there. Next is still in the fight. Looking to make a nice comeback. Let's see if he can do that. I'm sure Platypi doesn't intend to let that happen, but he sort of threw that flag away by dashing in to that stab. And there we go, he used long guard there, and immediately got punished for it that close. This could be the comeback that Next is looking for. But, unfortunately, there goes the hand. Platypi closing the round, but it was much closer than he might have been hoping, as he had quite an advantage earlier, but still, he did win it all the same. Okay, I'll be right back. If I'm not back in time, guys, you can just switch sides like usual and keep fighting. I will not be that long. Okay, I'm back. Looks like the current score overall is 1-1. This one is looking really close as well. The names are obviously not accurate because I was away, but I'm sure you guys can figure that out. They have not switched characters, so. Nice upcut, trying to follow it up. Not quite able to do it with that Unterhau. The Oberhau coming after it just did not quite land. But I think he went for a long guard attack there, so his arm was exposed. Nicely punished by Nex there, as Nex tries to finish it, but Platypi actually does not turtle up here. He puts his foot on the gas pedal when his opponent doesn't expect it. And so it's still a fight. And nice backdash there to counter that pommel strike. But there we go, the Y cut does land. The names are accurate now, so no need to switch sides. Or switch names, I should say. You guys should switch sides. Next is looking to finish the fight right here, but Platypi decides to meet him in the Isabella mirror. Pommel strike, nice. But I like the resolve from Platypi there. He was very much losing the fight. But a lot of people turtle up in that situation, try to play counter, but sometimes that's actually the wrong approach. Because that can surrender initiative to the opponent and it can spiral out of control if you do that. Oftentimes it can be better actually to come back to life out of nowhere and suddenly push the pace. That's what Oak does a lot as well, and it works really well. As long as you're not making mistakes in doing so, it can be very effective. The key is, whatever you do, though, to maintain composure in those situations. And we're seeing a lot of that today. A lot of close fights in general that have come down to the wire, which I really, really love to see. And in fact, if Platypi is able to win this one, we'll be looking at another 2-2. But Nex does not intend to allow that to happen, as he is one round away from winning. But still, the Isabella mirror not proving... Ooh, this time breaks through the guard. Perhaps Nex was trying something right at that moment when they connected, I'm not sure. Nice push, though, by Platypi. Showing some more advanced techniques there. Leveraging that experience that he has over his opponent. Although they have been evenly matched, I think it is fair to say Platypi has been with us for longer, so he's definitely an experienced veteran by comparison, but you wouldn't know it watching these two fight. Nex is doing a great job. There we go, hit to the head, and we're down to the last flag this round. Let's see what happens. Threatening the long guard and threatening the push, but this time a little bit too far, and Nex was ready with the cut. Most often a cut will beat a push attempt, so very nice punishment there by Nex. But if that push had landed, it would have been pretty devastating, I think, and it would have been Platypi's, actually. So a great attempt there, but a little bit risky, and unfortunately it did not pay off. But a fantastic fight between these two. Nex, I think, wanted to battle right away, so we will do that at the moment and get it over with. So we're doing the champion fight a little bit early, but we're actually sort of nearing the end of this event anyway. We have like 2 more fights to go besides the champion match, so bit of a smaller card, but like I was saying, I didn't think it would be lacking in quality, and we certainly got quality today, so I'm really happy to see that. And some people are trickling in, so we'll get some more fights for sure yet, even after this champion fight. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure he's in still. Yep. Just disconnected, but we got him back in. Probably did so sort of on impulse there, which happens. I do that as well. I'll take the left side as the champion. And next we'll take the right side. If he beats me, it's pretty self-explanatory. He gets the champion title. But I don't intend to make it easy for him. Go ahead and take the right side when you're ready. Great effort by Platypi that fight too, by the way. It was looking like he was going to win for quite a moment there. Yeah, I'll match in the Isabella mirror. I could use Barabash as well, but I'm going to do the mirror match. Let's touch tips first before we fight, as this is the champion match. On the left is yours truly, the current champion. I believe I have a 10-win streak right now, but regardless of that, I'm very close to breaking my all-time record, and I intend to break the all-time record in general for the USFC, which means I need to hang on to this title. But I have Next here, who has proven his mettle of Isabella and will not make it easy at all. And he will be a formidable champion, I know for sure, if he does win. Anyway, fight clean, fight dirty, and let's begin. Couldn't speak there for a moment. And a nice flag to start off. Won't be much commentary from me, as I'll probably stay laser focused. Yeah, good game. I couldn't find a way through Isabella's guard. It seemed like none of the cuts were landing, so nicely done. That's why the pommel strike was working too. I couldn't land anything, so. But great job. That was a good Isabella. So well worth the win. I was off my game, so well deserved. I'll put your name in the fight card and enter you in as the winner. And then we'll do info against Radzig. I mean, I've said that before and won, so I don't think I cursed myself, but okay. Alright, let's get them in. Alright, let me give you the title as well on Discord so that everyone can see it. I'll remove it from myself. There we go. Okay, info has connected, as has Radzig. This will be the second last fight. We'll try to get Pico somebody to fight, but otherwise that will be the Pico's fight will be the last one. Yeah, great fight though. That was really tough to figure out that Isabella. Info, take the left, Radzig on the right. You both have keyboard, by the way, so you can select. Click the screen if it's not working. Okay, Marina against Marta, which is a matchup we don't see terribly often, but it's one I could see going either way. It's all down to whether Marina can close in or if Marta can use that lateral movement to her advantage. So far, both keeping distance, although obviously Info is the one who really needs to close Marta down. It is not so simple because of the way Marta moves, and as we can see there, the sidestep is a great way to get around the shield. If somebody keeps pressing the volume button, try not to do that. Thankfully, it's the volume on my headset, so it doesn't really change anything. I have to manually do that, but it kind of blocks the screen for us, so try not to do that. I don't know if it actually appears on the stream, but it does appear for me, and probably the fighters, so. Because of how the game capture works. Lunges in there, getting a little bit too close though for that particular attack. And a perfect sidestep again. More or less the Hellish Quart principles they used to beat Marina are shown here, just with stabs instead of cuts. This is how Marta should be played. People say Marta's bad, but as you can see here, she's actually a very formidable character when used properly. And a perfect push. She actually has a really good push, so it's helpful as well against shields. Nice hit to the arm. Info still in the fight, but very much behind. Thrust attempt, there's a double. Okay, now it's a rapier match. Info pulling out the Marie, which we haven't seen in a while, but I'd say Marie is probably Info's best character. Given how much work Info put into perfecting Marie, even back when Marie was bad. She used to be actually one of the worst characters in the game, if not the worst. But she was buffed, and so now she's a really solid character. Incortada attempt there. Nice counter thrust. Neither fighter has actually been hit yet despite the exchanges. Very good job by both of them to stay safe but still keep the pressure on. And there we go. Beautiful counter by Radzig. Nice feint there by Radzig, but backs off. Dipping under the rapier a little bit, sort of feeling their opponent out. Nice stab to the arm. Not quite able to get a flag out of that though. And then a cut to the head right as she moved forward there. Bit of a mistake on Info's part getting too close. And a nice punishment with the cut. Little preemptive there. Good blade beat there, not quite able to follow it up, but still a good way to apply pressure. Very tactical fight this one, which I like to see. There's still a lot of stuff going on, but neither fighter's making unnecessary movements. And a stab to the arm, beautiful by Radzik. Showing us some masterful Marta. Nice blade beat. And a stab to the arm. Info scoring another flag. Stab to the arm. Not quite the head, it actually went a little low. Although that limp is going to be pretty devastating. As far as the distance play here, Info can now move in and out pretty freely. Stab aimed at the arm, this time though follows it up with a stab to the face. A lot of work for that flag, but well worth it. I think every flag is going to matter here. Nice cut attempt and backing off too when Info tries to seize control back of the center and go for that stab. That is the risk with cutting with Rapier, is that you completely give up control of the center a lot of the time. But if you have a follow-up right after that you can throw, it might not be so bad. And nice back Y. Nice thrust. Cortada. Big cut there by Info. Not quite close enough to punish that mistake, though. Both fighters having to keep quite the distance there with their weapons. And a double. Nice by Info. Both moving in and out. Info looking to finish this. Info known for stuff like that, like grapple. and just sort of closing in and making it messy, even with the rapier, and Info does get it. It was a good start by Radzik, but not quite able to convert, and Info made a nice comeback. Oh, somebody went back for some reason. Marta again, actually both of them picked Marta this time. Radzik being on the right, Info on the left. It's 1-1 overall. Ooh, Radzik went low, which is a little risky, but Info stab hit the arm, so it was just down to whose arm stab would win out. And typically that low stab actually penetrates further and does more damage, so you don't want to trade like that with Marta if you're Info. That's definitely an unfavorable trade. Nice push right after the thrust was thrown, so it more or less wasn't a threat. So Radzik timed that perfectly. Info had to retreat out of that, but she did not do so in time. Stab to the body again. Radzik doing great with Marta, definitely proving to be the superior Marta so far. But we'll see. Info has put some work into mastering Marta as well, but again, I do think Maria is more her speed than Marta is. Marta just doesn't quite fit her style, I think, is the fundamental problem. Good exchange of attacks there. Info not looking to get too close, but that thrust does a great job of getting around the guard and immediately landing a hit. Takes some time, but it's well worth it if you pull it off at the right time. Okay, now Radzik is looking to take this flag and potentially get a flawless, which would be pretty impressive. Stab up high after the stab down low. Classic combo, but actually is a trade of attacks there. And Info gets a lunge in there. That was nicely done. Nice, and that's it. 2-1 for Radzik. Still not over, of course. We still have at least one more round. And two more if Info manages to win this next one. Possible Jakob pick. I would be very surprised if that's what ends up happening. But it looks like Info is potentially gonna throw the match because Jakob is the worst character in the game right now. Especially with the small sword. The small sword is particularly inaccurate. It's basically just a shorter rapier. You can see it here how pitiful it looks next to Marta's weapon. It's not even a contest. I like that he can switch weapons and, you know, some of the other gimmicks he has, and obviously the zoning gimmick can work, but the fact of the matter is Kobold has to buff him a bit, I think, for him to be viable. I suggested more moves for the saber, better accuracy for the small sword, and the ability to switch weapons as we see fit, instead of starting with the saber exclusively. But that was a stab to the body, nicely done by Info. Nice stab there, getting inside there. Very good range management by Info. Might surprise us with Jakob a little bit. She has put some work into mastering Jakob as well. But yeah, the sidestep combinations, I'm surprised people don't use those with Marta more often. Those are some of the most powerful tools that she has. You can just straight up stun lock your opponent with the incortada, the out cortada as people call it, that's going out the outside instead of the inside. You can literally just spam it and then stun lock your opponent to death. Or you can get a kill right off the bat if your ranging's correct. As for Pico's fight, by the way, we're looking for somebody who lost, preferably, to fight him. I can also do so since I'm one of the losers, but that might look a little bit like corruption, so I won't do that. We'll try to find him a suitable opponent. But I'm also happy to do that since I lost, so... If needed, I do not mind. Nice. Bit of an exchange there. Info doing actually a really good job, but Radzik was able to land the first decisive hit. You can see how much Jakob has to lunge to even hope to match the range of that rapier, and even then he doesn't quite do it. There we go, an interruption, and then a cut, and then a nice follow-up. Marta's combinations are devastating. Yeah, nice interruption with that incortada, though. Perfect way to stop a dash and thrust like that. You might just hit the opponent first, and even if you don't do that, you can trap the opponent's blade and immediately follow up. And the rapier can cut, unlike the small sword, which doesn't have an edge, so... Just the ability to cut up close already puts Marta at quite an advantage, in my opinion. The rapier is not a good cutting weapon to begin with, but it's at least a weapon that can cut. So... that already allows it to do that much more damage than the small sword could ever hope to do with edge contact. Nice push, thrust to the head. And Marta's push is also really good, which ironically really helps up close. So that's the thing, and I think that's the reason people say Jakob's not the best character. It's like, he has less range than the rapiers, but the rapiers also do better up close. So it's like, what does this guy have at that point with the small sword? Maybe some flashy moves? That's about it. And even those moves don't have the best of accuracy, they often don't kill. We've seen Info be really precise with those moves, and she has managed, therefore, to kill with them sometimes. But there's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. That was a perfect stab, I thought, to the body, but there was no damage registered, so it just completely missed, and I'm not even sure why. But Info did great. That's not to take away from Info's skill. It's just the character, I think, really made it difficult for Info to find counterplay against such a good Marta. And as we saw with the Marie, the skill is there. I think Info sort of threw it away in Info fashion by switching characters there. But that's what Info's sort of known for, so that's not necessarily surprising. It's become a bit of a meme at this point, but Info is actually a really good player. Somebody pinged that other guy who signed up. So I'm gonna give whoever this guy was, I don't remember. I'll find him though, he obviously signed up, so I'll give him another ping just to be fair. Randomless, that's his name. I'll give him a ping. There you go. Give Randomless a chance to respond as well. If Pico doesn't respond within a reasonable period of time, I'll give him like a few minutes or so. I don't know why Info is trying to connect. Next to Info where? Yeah, you're not even on the fight card because you signed up a bit too late. Same place. What? Oh, like you're in the same house. Okay. Yeah, okay, you can join then. That's fine. I'll have you two fight in that case. I will. Pico's gonna be a tough fight to start out with, but I mean, so would fighting me. So you know, we're gonna do Pico against this randomless guy or girl. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Girl. Okay, good to know. Can you have a late fight too? Yeah, probably against me or something. Somebody who lost. But yeah, I can do that. Okay, randomless. We'll take. Let's do the left side for randomless. And then Pico will be on the right. I'll just insert you into the fight card. And I'll put you in as well. Lady Mauricia. That's Max, by the way, but obviously they changed their name. Same person, though, for those who are unaware. Controller? Cool. Yeah, I'll give her controller. There you go. You're in the fight card now. Let's get it. Yeah, Pico has keyboard, always good. Click and take the left side. Random list select. There we go. Ooh, nice hits by Yendrick so far. Pico memeing a little bit, but he is a good Yendrick player. He's good with just about everybody, so. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat. Some discussions about back Y in the Discord and stuff like that. And nice, pretty flawless win there for Pico. Yendrick is probably pretty intimidating for a lot of new players too, because he sort of, I won't say he breaks the rules of the game, that's not really correct. It's just that his weapon is designed to bypass guard, being an axe, so you really have to have your distance management down to fight a character like that. Sometimes you can just sort of get really aggressive too. Nice stab to the head. Pico has decided to use Marie this time to match his opponent in the Rapier Mirror, although it is different characters. Marta using the Spanish Destreza style, whereas Marie used the Italian Rapier style. If anybody does want to fight Max, I'm more than happy to allow you to do it as well. Just looking for people who lost their fights primarily. Otherwise, I'll do it, and I don't mind. Since I'm also a loser, I do qualify. But as much as possible, we want to avoid match winners getting extra fights. Sometimes it does happen. USFC be spontaneous like that. But since I'm right here and I'm available, I'm more than happy to fight Max as well. Or Lady Maricia, I should say. No, I'm not saying bad things about myself. It's just objectively I lost the fight. I am one of the losers today. So that means I'm eligible to fight against you. But I am off my game today, compared to usual, so. Normally somebody who just walks forward and guards is easy for me to counter, but today it was not the case, so. But that is what it is. That's on me to figure that out. I could have used Denise too, of course. That's one thing I was thinking about. But Denise is just blatantly broken in the game right now, so I don't really feel like using a character like that. You know, because even if I won, I wouldn't feel very good about the win personally, because I'm not a fan of his current state in the game, so. Nice. It was a bit of a closer fight this time, but Pico still took it. Let's see if Randomless can change something. She is having a lot of trouble against Pico, which I did expect, but I hope Randomless is still learning some things. El Samuel? Nah. Not quite my character. He is a good one, though. I can play a pretty good Samuel, but... we're doing the Martamir now, Pico being honorable, but Pico is more experienced with just about every character you can think about, because he's a jack of all trades, so... This might not be as easy for a Randomless as she's hoping. It'll be really difficult, in fact. Pico very good with his cancels. Nice, in Cortadas there. Nice. Ooh, nice exchange of stabs there, but Pico is simply more precise here. But still a good effort from Randomless, despite what the flags may say. Bit of a hit there, but not a great one. There's a cut, but Rapier's not being very good at cutting, so it doesn't do much. And then there's a stab to the face. Pico just, again, a little bit more precise with his move choice, but that will come with experience. Still, good effort by Randomless. Thank you for signing up. We'd love to have you in future USFCs. If you sign up earlier so I can put you on the fight card, I can also put you against somebody closer to your skill level if possible. But we can't guarantee that. There's a lot of veterans out there, so you might end up fighting a veteran anyway. About the Alt F4, I actually moved back to Discord, so it turns out you didn't close me out for some reason. I was pretty quick about moving back, so I think I saved it there if you did that. But it's funny that Pico does that a lot, the alt tabbing and stuff. It's funny. Anyway. Yeah, I don't see anybody else volunteering to fight, so I think we'll fight. Lady Mauricia. Let's see it. And I'll give you the left side to start off. If not, of course, we can just end the stream there, but Mauricia asked for a fight, so I'm assuming that's what they want. Yeah, go ahead and join. Obviously from Info's computer. Do you need keyboard? Or do you need controller? Yeah, keyboard is fine. You have it now. Take the left side when we reassign the controllers and we can get started. Since I'm not the champion, we won't do some special intro or anything like that. We're just gonna go. Because I'm not the current champ. Alright, good luck. Let's see what Yazoo can do. Take the left. It's not over yet. Yeah, I'm gonna have a bit of fun with Tarnovsky, at least for this round. Don't usually play him, but he is a really fun character when played well. Alright, good game. I don't know, maybe I'll use him a bit more. That went well, but that could have also just been a strong day for Tarna for some reason. But that's the power of Tarnovsky right there. In the right hand, he can be very formidable. He actually went better than Barabash for some reason, so that kind of says something. But great game. That was a fun series of saber fights, and I hope you enjoyed them as well, Lady Mauricia. Anyway, I will end it there. Good games, guys. and I will see you next time. There's a fantastic USFC, particularly high quality with the fights.